All right, episode 44. Will these comics make good film and television shows? Find out right now. All right, we are back with another episode with your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. I just released Lords of LA on Kickstarter and waiting to get some more artwork back and get that fulfilled. But thank you everybody for making that a successful Kickstarter. And we can jump right into it. We got Marvel, we got DC, and we have an Image comic as well. Skybound to be precise. And so we're going to start with Silent Knight. So this is the book with Santa and basically the Justice League. It starts out with Batman, but it's basically the Justice League. It says Batman on it, but it's everybody. So from this point, we found out that Krampus is behind this whole attack, and now he's starting just to release monsters that Santa has, locked up through the years. He's pissed off at Santa because Santa sent him to a void. And the void has driven him a little even more nuts than he was before. And Santa had, a misconception about whether Krampus was bad or not. He thought he was killing children when he really wasn't. Then he banished him, and then he couldn't find him. And it's all a big family dilemma. We all have those, right? We all send our siblings to banishment and then can't find them. And then, they just start return and start releasing monsters upon the world. Happens to us every Christmas. So I gotta say to start with that, though this is artwork has been by Michelle Bandini, and I've been pretty impressed with it so far. However, since it's a weekly book, I don't think she's been able to keep up with the workload, and rightfully so. Releasing unless you have them all done months ahead of time, it's very hard to get to do a weekly book. It's 20 pages. You have to do more than 2 pages a day. That's kind of almost impossible. So we start out with this poor couple trying to run from these harpies and not being successful. So military guys show up, and it's in London. And they try to get air support, and air support doesn't really work for them too well. And we're going down, Black Hawk down. But then we get a nice shot of Hawk Girl saving the day. She says, "Come with me if you want to live." And she gets them out, but they start coming at her, and then a green shield comes up, so we assume it's a Green Lantern. But then they use the Sector Green Lantern. I don't know why. There's so many other Green Lanterns they could have used. They use a character that nobody knows, nobody cares about. I don't understand it. Jessica Cruz would have been, if you wanted to go female, you could have gone Jessica Cruz very easily. If you wanted to go black, then, Jon Stewart with Hawkgirl would have been a far better match. I would have much preferred him being in here. I'm a big fan of Jon Stewart and Jessica Cruz for that matter. I think they both have great looks, but choosing this offhanded thing, I don't understand it. So then Wonder Woman shows up, and this is where I could tell that it was not Bandini. Look how bad that artwork is. I mean, that is insane poor art. I mean, that's like a high school student doing art. It does not belong in this book. So, yeah, I mean, the way he does Wonder Woman's hair, even in the air, is just extremely poor. I mean, extremely poor. So, anyway, we get Wonder Woman here just not well, and she lassos the harpy, and then, asks us some questions, and then we just kind of move on after that. And then a few pages in, so we get Superman's in this now. And then we have a portal open up, and an elf shows up, and Damien immediately tries to attack the guy. And I like that Batman just puts his fist out and stops him. That's pretty cool. So the elf is like, no, I got to take you to where, everything's going on here. We need help. And then there's a big worm kind of creature, worm, snake, whatever. And Santa's there, trying to ward it off. We still haven't found out what's going on in Zatanna. It's all supposed to be Norse, so this obviously takes place, around the North Pole, kind of thing. So Superman jumps in and saves the day with a big punch to the face. I am looking forward to that Green Arrow. I stopped collecting Green Arrow because I didn't like the thing, the whole multiverse thing. I was over it. And we got this really kind of nice shot of Batman, Green Arrow, Nightwing, and Damian. But anyway, so he goes, Clark Kent, I know exactly who you are. I know your address in Kansas, and you wrote to me when you were 6 years old, and all this shit. And, you asked for something for your parents, and all that stuff. So, kind of falls in line. And then I really like Black Canary being in here. We get to see her doing some damage. And then we get, Superman on the inside, and he gets eaten. But by getting eaten, he's able to throw it away. But he grabs Krampus, and Santa's like, no, no, no. And then we realize that he has been possessed. And by being possessed, he goes to the ice structure, I guess, where some things are being kept and, imprisoned, really is the word. And he goes to break it down, and then he grabs Damien and says, I must kill the bad children. You are a bad child, Damian Wayne. Yep. Just like that. Tell me about my Krampus voice. And then I will let out all of my children, all the people that haven't been imprisoned by Naughty Santa. So we got Superman that's being possessed, and now we got a whole bunch of monsters being released, and that's the end. It feels very quick. There's not a whole lot that happens in here. We got a couple of fight scenes, and then the release of the big baddies, and then that's the end of that. I cannot see how this is going to be wrapped up next issue. It's impossible. This thing's got to keep going. There's got to be at least 6 issues. I can see it being halfway because this is issue 3, but it all being wrapped up in next issue, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I don't know if it goes beyond into January. All right, so make a good film. Absolutely, this is awesome. I kind of say it every week. I think that unfortunately, I guess Aquaman's not doing well. I did a review of that. I'll put it up here at the end of the episode. Because I'm a big fan of Aquaman, not so much the movies, but the comics. Even when there was comics, I really wish that I could write for Aquaman. They haven't done a whole lot of Aquaman, good Aquaman stories. There has been a few, but not many. It's been an on and off type of thing. He gets popular, and then he dies off. Then he gets popular again. He dies off. And so we're in the die-off period where there's just no Aquaman going on right now. All right, so let's jump into the Hulk. So, this has been a decent series. It's more of a horror-based series now, where we have, we show these very horrific transformations from Banner to Hulk and back again. And Charlie, who was an abused child by her father, I guess that her brother was killed as well, maybe by the father. I don't think I remember them going too far into it. I think it was the father that caused it or whatever. But and then her father died, and now she's one of the suspects, and she feels very horrible about that. But Hulk makes her feel safe. So they're kind of doing the whole wandering type of thing from like the Hulk in the 70s and the Bill Bixby stuff, except that he has this girl Charlie with him, and they go to this little town, and Charlie finds, saw this, not World War II bike that's kind of just in the ground, half in the ground. And one of the little kids, kind of rides it by playing on it. But then when Hulk transforms, plus we find out that this town is being, not ransacked, but terrorized by a monster that looks like an Aztecian thing. And then we saw a guy having flashes of doing bad things and him trying to control himself. And then you realize that he is the monster, but we don't really understand the connection yet. So anyway, the Ghost Rider pops out of that World War II bike, and he fights Hulk, and then the monster shows up because Charlie says that's not the right monster. And, he's firing machine guns, all this stuff. And he protects the child, but there you see that the monster's kind of watching in the background, going like, "All right, I guess I'm free to do whatever I want." And Ghost Rider's kind of bitten off more than he can chew here because Hulk is fighting back. All this stuff. The fight scene's pretty decent. Yeah, and he pounds the ground, and it's, if I could see through the pages. So he knocks him off the bike, and he gets and the tires pop or whatever else, but it just reheals itself in midair. So it's going to be a draw, no matter how that turns out. Then the monster shows up and it kills one of the people, and Charlie bangs it on the head with a crowbar, and it starts approaching her. It's kind of cool. The artwork's pretty decent too. Except the Ghost Rider, as it's about to kill her, the Ghost Rider grabs it and throws it, and you can see the back of Hulk's heels there, walking up to the monster. And it pulls out the thing and tries to stab Hulk. Yeah, that's gonna go well. Ah! Except that Hulk, just like you think would happen, Hulk grabs him and slams him and slams him and pulls the knife out and stabs him in the face with the knife. And monster's not having a good day. It's a pretty bad day for being monsters. And then the Ghost Rider goes back to being inert, and then we switch over to like this World War II, I don't know World War II, but some kind of a support group for ex-military, I guess. And they're mourning the guy that died, who was the monster, and then all this stuff starts leaking out of their faces, and it's like that entity, it's this big black entity. And it's like, oh yeah, I don't like losing one of my people, blah blah blah. And then we switch back over to the village, and Charlie's like, hey, can we stay? Can we stay? And Hulk's like, hell no, we can't stay. And where does Banner go when you're here? And where's Banner then? He's like, we don't talk about Banner. Well, it's like he's like in some kind of a skeleton. But then Hulk's eyes turn black. And Hulk's like, run! Because he can't control himself, or he knows something's coming, or whatever. And then the last splash page we have is, I guess, the guys that were from that meeting transformed into monsters, and they're going to get revenge for their fallen brother. And that's the end of that. So yeah, this has been really kind of an exciting run by Father Phil Kennedy Johnson, I believe. I did not look. I think it's Phil Kennedy Johnson. And yeah, Phil Kennedy Johnson. And I would definitely like this to be a movie. It would work as a television show as well, but I think because of the beats that are kind of piling up, you'd have to introduce Charlie very, very quickly. That's the part of the problem. That's why it almost lends itself more to a television show, because without the development of Charlie, then this whole progression doesn't work. And I don't know if you can do that in 2 hours, but I guess you can if you limited the Monster of the Week situation. But yeah, so far it's been really good. And I'm waiting to see what happens next. Exciting stuff. And then we'll go into G.I. Joe, a real American hero. G.I. Joe is there. That's from the 80s show, by the way, if you're not familiar. If you've never seen the opening of the cartoon, you should look it up on YouTube. I was, everybody's more, it seems, because G.I. Joe and Transformers both got picked up by Skybound here and doing this Energon universe. And everybody seems a lot more excited about Transformers. And I'm more pushed towards G.I. Joe. I grew up more with G.I. Joe than I did Transformers. I love G.I. Joe. I was collecting all the little figures. In fact, the first guy I ever got is on the cover, Stalker. I loved his beret. Him and Snake Eyes were my two first things, and then Scarlet. Those were my first 3 G.I. Joe figures ever that I got. And Larry Hama wrote the one back in the 80s, but this is not a reboot. It's him continuing on. And so in the first issue, all that happens is that there's an attack on Cobra Island, and Serpentor, or whatever his name is, and Dr. Mindbender is there, and he's about to release off some kind of a genetic mutating bomb on his own people, including himself. So they're all mutated now, and they look like gross things, and but that's all that happened in the first issue. There was like 2 story beats in the entire issue. And the Joes pull out, and when they see the bomb, and Cobra Commander escapes, and I guess they're zombies, so they eat their own people. It's because he kills one and says dinner served. Just doesn't feel like G.I. Joe to me. Then we get several pages of the funeral from the guy who died in the last issue, and it's not just like 1 page would have been suffice. We go all the way to the 21 gun salute. Then we have the folding of the flag. So 3 pages of the funeral with no dialogue. Why? Oh, I'm sorry. 4 pages. Waste. Just a waste. Then we get this scene with Cobra Commander, and this is all just really weird too, because I like the art for Cobra Commander there. But I guess all the people that were on the island, on the Cobra Island, they're like, well, my dad was there. Well, my uncle was there. What about Charlie G? What about... what is going on? So he's dealing with all these families, and he's like, oh, by the way, they're all coming to hunt us right now. So all those other people that you're worried about, you should be worrying about yourself. So bad. So bad. Let's see if okay, then we go, after all that, and G.I. Joe's trying to figure out what's going on as well. Then we go to a cabin, and this is the second time that we see Snake Eyes without his mask on. Well, he's just always in the dark, and I guess a wolf drops off a baby wolf. And I guess, he and Scarlet have some kind of a relationship, and they're in bed together, and that's where it ends. And this is the second issue in of this run, and guess what? It's my last. It is my last. It is. If you're collecting this book, God be with you, because this is garbage. This is complete ripping up garbage. Larry Hama, I don't know how old the guy is because he was writing back in the 80s, but he needs to stop. He's not doing this thing any good. Get somebody new on this immediately. Say thank you very much, Larry. As of issue 5, you're done. So it's just complete garbage. Doesn't feel like G.I. Joe. I read his first stuff in the 80s, and it was good, for the 80s. And, a little campy. But this doesn't even feel like G.I. Joe anymore. I don't even know what the hell this is. It's got the G.I. Joe characters, but that's it. That is the extent of what this book is. So complete trash. Complete trash. I gave it a second issue, and I'm done. So Skybound, the Energon universe. You failed, man. You failed. I'm going to get the Duke one, and I'm going to get the Cobra Commander one. I'm going to give that a couple of chances, and then that's it for me. I might be out of the Energon universe outside of Void Rivals because I don't collect Transformers. It's not my thing. All right, so let's recap. G.I. Joe. I would love to see a good G.I. Joe movie. There has never been one. There has never been a good G.I. Joe movie, literally ever. I'm trying to get the glare out of there. The first movie was campy. The second movie had a couple of good scenes in it, but still did not do well. The Snake Eyes movie wasn't Snake Eyes, so we literally have not gotten... The Baroness was about as close as we got to any of those movies being close to a characterization from the comics or from the cartoon. All right, so no. And if you're collecting it, let me know why. Hulk. Loving it. I think it's... I look forward to the Hulk every month. And Silent Knight. Yeah, I like it. I'm waiting to see how this thing will close up, if it closes up in one issue. I'm really excited to see how Jeff Parker can close that up in one issue. I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I kind of hope he doesn't, because I'd like to get a couple more issues. Although the weekly thing is kind of bullshit. But I understand that they want to do it for Christmas. But then going beyond that into January, then if you're going to make it a monthly thing, you know, you're going to go into February or whatever else, just go into monthly if you're going to do that. All right, that's it for me. Thank you again so much. Remember to give me a thumbs up, like it, subscribe it, all that YouTube stuff. I'm trying to grow the channel out. Please help me. Please help me. I can use all the help I can get. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all the happies for the holiday season. And remember that I'm going to be launching Lords of LA, the late pledge, in January after the holidays are over. And Mark Spears and I are working on a classic monster card game right now, and I'm working on the Oz expansion right now as well. I'm waiting for the graphic design, which should be here in a couple of days. He's almost done. But so right now what you're seeing is not the final card. But yeah, excited to get that out to you guys. All right, again, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to have additional... I'll throw my Aquaman review up here as well, if you guys are interested in seeing that. All right, thank you again, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye-bye.